Oh, let me turn my camera on. Okay. Are y'all ready? Is Miss King there?
I'm right here.
Great.
Okay, it should be good.
Brent, you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All righty, let's get started. Calling cause number 2022-0D01191, State of Texas versus Amiaya. Sienna Marin, may I have announcements, please?
King for the state of Texas.
Brent Stevens for Miss Marin.
And Ms. Marin is appearing from the downtown jail. We are scheduled for a bond hearing. Mr. Stevens, you may proceed.
I'm trying to get my internet to work, but it's
Take your time. Take your time.
half working. So Judge, Miss Marin is originally from Chicago, Illinois. She was born in Minnesota. Her father lives in Chicago now, and he's been in contact with me, like almost continuously since she was arrested here. He has a place for her to live if she's released.
Mr. Stevens, this is one where we had a bond hearing already, right? And he came in? Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And Judge, Miss Marin also has indicated to me she can stay here in a homeless shelter if needed. And her father even set up a place for her to live with a friend here in El Paso as well, one of his friends. So she has family trying to help her. She has no prior convictions at all. She does have pending cases in Colorado. I think it's Denver. I'm not certain about the city or the county, but it's basically the same facts as this case. I guess she had a little spree because in this case, she's alleged to have come upon a driveway with a car running, got in it and left, grabbed the car and took off. And like the boyfriend of the owner chased her down. Mm-hmm. So that's El Paso. And apparently Denver's basically the same thing, like at a gas station. Clearly, there's an issue there that needs to be dealt with, but she doesn't have any prior convictions, and she does have family support, at least from her father. She was working previously at McDonald's and like a Fridays in Tucson, and had been living with family there. She has a GED. As far as a 1622, I don't think there's a 1622, but there is medication being prescribed at the jail now. Mm-hmm. So I probably could argue a 1735 presumed PR bond based upon that. Although I don't have a specific diagnosis. I think it's maybe anxiety and then just sleeping medication.
Let me stop you right there because I did look at that. I recalled Miss Marin's situation because I remember Dad was here last time. I did, and what brought me concern was the, I think they're February 2022, basically similar offenses, but I did go in and look at the complaint, the underlying complaint on this case. And it is somewhat random. In fact, my notation was, was there a mental health concern kind of at the crux of all of this? Let me ask in general, Ms. King, do we know what we're doing with this case? I mean, there was not any restitution. We do. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what you have wrecked the case at.
Yes, Your Honor. We have actually, so the recommendation is a 1244A, and that was communicated to Mr. Stevens on May 27, and that will be a time served.
1244A, time served.
Yeah, and we are not leading to a felony conviction. Mm-hmm. So period. We're asking for a PR bond. I emailed Mr. Saucedo because I think that's an unreasonable recommendation, and why probation is not being offered, I don't know, but We are asking for a PR bond.
And Your Honor, I was copied on the conversation back and forth, and we have explained why the state is not willing to offer probation.
Okay. All right. And so then in terms of the living arrangement, I know you've brought up different options now. I think last time, Mr. Stevens, we were going to have, or the potential for her to actually go live with dad was one option. Now I'm hearing maybe there's one or two options here locally. Do we know that one is a for sure?
Well, one that's for sure is the homeless shelters, but also her dad's friend. I haven't spoken to him since the last bond hearing, but I could probably get that set up pretty quick if I try.
Okay. So let me hear you on the bond, Ms. King.
Yes, Your Honor. The state respectfully opposes the bond reduction. There was a rec that was conveyed as of May 27th. Also, she does not have any ties to the communities. My understanding is the father actually resides in out of state, and also being out of Colorado. We have an arrest date of January 27, 2022. For similar offenses, felony for vehicle theft with a weapon offense. There's also a driving under the influence from the same incident and dangerous drugs. So it was a 4-count arrest. There's also a January 28th that I see, 2022, out of Colorado, Denver, Colorado, for drug paraphernalia possession. And Your Honor, the state would respectfully opposes the bond reduction.
Okay. Any resources, family? I know she probably doesn't, Mr. Stevens, but family, anybody have resources towards a bond?
Her father wanted to bond her out, but he doesn't have the money at this time. He did have a ticket purchased at the previous bond hearing for an Amtrak ticket to Chicago, but Amtrak was giving him trouble about rescheduling, and so I do not know if that ticket is still available, but he did have that for her.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to give her a full PR bond, but I will reduce the bond to $5,000, and I'm going to split that 2,500 PR, 2,500 cash surety. She is to report once a month by telephone. I am going to require that she remain in El Paso County unless she requests for permission from the court. What I'm telling you by that, Mr. Stevens, is that if the living arrangement is such that she's better off staying with dad, she just needs to ask for permission before she can leave. So she is to maintain current contact information, to include an address with PR bond. And so whichever address she's going to be at, it just needs to be consistent. They need to be able to locate her. She's going to be subject to a curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. She is to possess no weapons. What else? She'll be subject to testing. Well, no, I'll leave that stuff out. I don't know that there's any indication that she's using anything. And commit no new offenses.
Judge, I don't think there's any chance that she's going to get out with that bond. The reason being is her family's out of town, and every time I've ever had clients with family out of town, the bonding companies give them trouble about wanting collateral property and that sort of thing. So I don't see it happening unless the surety portion is reduced significantly more.
Yeah, I'm not going to, with the outstanding arrests in Colorado and just everything else, I'm not going to give her a straight PR bond. So when's our next setting? Let me see. So we're not coming back till July 14th for a judges conference. So if there's anything to be done on the rec or anything else, I mean, look to me anyways, is a pretty straightforward case, but maybe there's something else there. So see,
there's nothing else there, Judge. There's nothing else there.
Okay.
Probation should have been offered on this case day one, and it hasn't been. So that's all there is there.
Okay. Well, you all have your settings, so we'll see you at the next setting. That's the order of the court. Thank you, Ms. Marin. Downtown, who else do you have?
They have Rascon, Judge, on page 7, middle of page 7.
Is that Mr. Spencer?
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
I have Sarah Rascon. I'm sorry.
Thank you. If we can take care of that, if that's your last one, so you all can be free.
Yes, Judge.
Thanks.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Spencer. All right, Mr. Ruskell, I'm calling cause number 2020-0D03328. I also have her down on 2022-0D00670, State of Texas versus Sarah Rascon. Are you on that case as well, Mr. Spencer?
It should be, Judge. Is that a tampering case?
Let me double check. Yes, it is. And yes, you are. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
I didn't, I'm sorry, I think I was supposed to get a waiver. I haven't done that yet. But
Well,
I'll
we're
get that done.
actually not set for arraignment until the 16th, but I just wanted to make sure I was keeping track. We had both cases. Today is only a probation status hearing. Oh, and a bond hearing. We also have the bond hearing. Okay. So while I pull up the case summary on the probation case, you may proceed on your bond hearing.
Well, Judge, I know that the court initially had let Ms. Rascon had released her, and on I think on some probation violations, if I'm not mistaken, and I think subsequent to that, we ended up being here. So, Judge, honestly, at this time, I'm not prepared for a bond hearing. I would just emphasize at this point, we ask just to vacate the hearing, and I'll make a motion for a bond or reset at another time. I don't believe the court at this point. I don't have enough information to be prepared to see what issues came up between the last time we were in court and now.
Okay.
But if the state has a rec already in consideration with both of these cases, we would I'd like to start the negotiation process and start communicating with my client to see how we can resolve her cases and move forward,
Sure.
Judge.
Sure. What, Ms. King, do you have a rec?
Not at this point, Your Honor, not for the new cases.
I'm looking at the, let me get to the case summary. Judge review summary, failed to call, bench warrant. Yeah, no, the last thing that we had in terms of the probation case was issuing the bench warrant pretty much. And so, what was that? Okay. Let me just look at the motion to revoke. We've got the new tampering. It's a 2021 case. Forgery. She was released in January. I'm just looking at the motion. She failed to report August, September, October, December, January. Yeah, so we just need it. All right. So we have, we're coming back on the 16th. So I don't know how quickly you all can look at a potential resolution, but that's at the 9:30, 16th at 9:30. So your client won't be here, but we can go from there. Okay, so we'll see you on the 16th. If you need, if we're not at a resolution at a number, if you need a bond hearing, then let us know. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Judge.
Anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. Downtown, is that everybody you have?
That is all I have, Judge.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Now we can go to the annex. All right. Who's up, Mr. Marifo?
On page 4, Judge,
Mhm.
the second one.
Okay,
Annex, may we have Crystal Barnes?
Yes, sir, she'll figure it out.
Ms. Caballero, are you there? Yay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Good
so then we'll
afternoon.
take care, good afternoon. So after Ms. Barnes, we'll take care of Mr. Martinez. I think those are the only two you have, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, beautiful. All right, ready, everybody? All right. Calling cause number 2020-0D05216, State of Texas versus Crystal Barnes. May I have announcements, please?
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Teresa Caballero on behalf of Ms. Barnes.
And Ms. Barnes is appearing from the jail annex. Ma'am, we are scheduled today for a plea of true in your case, so I'm going to be asking you some questions, which means I need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Ma'am, do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. And you can hear me okay? We've had some audio issues.
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you just fine. Ma'am, would you state your name and date of birth for the record?
My name is Crystal Barnes. My date of birth is March 16th of 88.
Ms. Barnes, are you the same individual who on March 30th, 2021, entered a plea of guilty to the offense of, or 2 counts of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount less than 1 gram and were placed on 2 years deferred adjudication? Are you that same person?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Caballero, do you waive formal reading of the motion to adjudicate?
I do.
Ms. Barnes, I'm going to ask you about documents marked as States Exhibits 1, 2, and 3, the stipulations and waivers in this case. Do you recall reviewing those with your attorney and signing those documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand everything contained within those documents?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Caballero, did you explain the documents to your client and the possible consequences of signing those documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Barnes, are you waiving the rights that were explained in those documents?
Yes.
Do you understand that by signing the documents, you are giving up certain constitutional rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you're making a judicial confession?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand that on a plea of true and all reasonable probability, I will find the allegations in the state's motion to be true, and in all reasonable probability, I will find you guilty of the offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount less than 1 gram. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
With regard to the motion to adjudicate, do you wish to enter a plea of true or not true?
True.
Other than the agreement reached between you and the state, are you pleading true because the allegations are true and for no other reason?
Yes.
And what is the agreement, Ms. King?
It's 180 days state jail, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Barnes, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Caballero, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I will accept that agreement. In terms of the exhibits, states 1, 2, and 3 will be admitted into evidence. The court will also take judicial notice of all documents in the district clerk's file. Based on the evidence presented here today, Ms. Barnes, and on your plea of true, I find there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations in the state's motion to adjudicate, and I will find you guilty of the offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 1 in an amount less than 1 gram in this case. The judgment will be amended from 2 years deferred adjudication to 180 days confinement in the state jail facility. You will receive credit for any and all time that you have served. Is there anything further, Ms. Caballero or Ms. King?
Nothing.
No,
further.
Your Honor.
Ms. Barnes, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a
Ms.
good day.
Ms. Barnes, goodbye. It was nice representing you.
Thank you. You did an awesome job.
Thank you.
Take care. If I could have Isaac Martinez, please, annex. Oh my gosh, it's getting really warm. Okay. Mr. Martinez, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Calling cause number 2020-0D03792, 2020-0D05259, 2019-0D03251, 2019-0D03752, 2019-0D03254, 2019-0D03256, 2019-0D03258, and 2020-0D04282, State of Texas versus Isaac Martinez. May I have announcements, please?
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Teresa Caballero on behalf of Mr. Martinez.
And Mr. Martinez is appearing from the jail annex. All of these cases are scheduled for final hearing plea deadline. I believe we were rescheduled because we had some, I guess, final negotiations. Attorneys, where are we on this one?
Your Honor, I did send the plea paperwork this morning. I do apologize for my late response in sending those, but it's going to be 10 years straight probation on the unlawful possession for cause number, let's see, it's the count 2 of 2020-0D05259, and it will be 10 years deferred on the ag robbery. So it's pleading to the one that ends in 3792 and 5259. And it will, and then in return, it will dismiss the other burglary of a building cases.
Ms. Caballero, is that your understanding, and has your client agreed to that?
Your Honor, that is my understanding, and that's my understanding that it's agreed to it, but I have not had an opportunity to go over the plea papers with him,
Okay.
and I didn't have a chance to go today. And I don't believe I'm going to have a chance before Monday of next week. And
Okay.
I hate to keep him in longer than I have to, because it is going to be probation, but I need to talk to him and go over
Sure.
these personally.
How soon can I? Well, I can set you all for the 21st at 3 p.m. I will just tell you this. If it ends up not being an agreement, I won't have, there's like a 1% chance I can get him to trial that week. We have a specially set case, and only if that fell through would I be able to get you to trial. Okay.
Do you have anything available next week, Judge? I'm assuming you don't, because you would have said it, but maybe we can.
No. I didn't know that. We can do the 14th. We can absolutely do the 14th.
Let's do that.
Okay.
I am, like a 40-minute drive from the annex,
Mhm.
and I have to schedule that in.
Mhm. Again, if we end up looking at a trial, that might be trickier, but I can get you in on the jail docket. So we'll do 1 week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. King, thank you for the papers we have.
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez, we're
Okay.
coming back in 1 week with this new rec, okay? All righty. Thank you, Ms. Caballero.
Thank you, ladies. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, now who's next?
We're back on page 4, middle of page 4, Judge.
Okay, who is it?
Annex, may we have Fabian Guerrero?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gandara.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
In cause number 2022-0D01688, State of Texas versus Fabian Guerrero. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Jaime Gandar for Fabian Guerrero, Your Honor.
And Mr. Guerrero or Mr. Gandara, do you recognize your client appearing from the jail annex?
I do.
Okay, you are scheduled for a bond hearing. I believe your client's bond is at 70,000 cash surety. You may proceed.
Your Honor, Mr. Guerrero's been in jail for, I forget the count on the days. It's something like 90 days or close to 90 days. In any event, it took a while to get him indicted. He has underlying medical issues that need to be looked at, and some of them have some, in my opinion, some effect on the events giving rise to the indictment. But in any event, Mr. Guerrero has been admitted into the chance program that the county runs, and they also have a safety plan for his release to get him transferred to the Opportunity Center and get him started on mental health care out in the community. And he's not a flight risk of any kind, Your Honor, and he's not dangerous. What was going on with him at the time of the commission of this offense was, in my belief, some kind of a psychotic episode. But it was he was stopped after he was driving around in the same neighborhood where it's alleged that he took the car from and that he burglarized the house. He's just cruising around, oblivious to what was going on. In any event, he's stable. He's medically stable in the jail now, and they've got a plan for getting him out, working him back into the community. His mother and other family members are here in your courtroom with me. They thought it was going to be an in-person hearing, but anyway, he does have family support, although his mother has another household with another family and can't take him in there. But he himself was working and had his own living conditions and his own apartment and everything, and he can get back to that once he gets through with what the EHN has for him and the safety plan provides for him.
Well, let me ask a little bit, because that's the notation I have here right off the bat is, yes, you know, I think there is a 1622 that indicates the mental health concern. And so was he receiving, he was receiving services before we have this incident arise, correct?
At some time in the past, yeah, he was, there was some inconsistency, but he had received services before.
And you know, without getting into a lot of detail, I know we're on YouTube and everything. What is the nature of the safety plan coming out? I mean, does it involve medication, appointments? What are we talking about?
He's already placed with EHN for his ongoing medical care, and if you release him, he will go to the Opportunity Center and then immediately be set up. In fact, before he gets out, before he gets to the OC, he will have all of his medical appointments set up and ready for him to go.
You know,
and they will also help him get back to work, although he tells me that he's not going to have any trouble doing that himself. But in any event, they're going to get him back to work additionally.
And no violent history, right? One of the things that, you know, we have to look at is this PSR. I don't see any, in terms of criminal history, I don't see any violent history. Is that right?
I don't either. That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Gandara?
That's all I have at the moment, Your Honor.
And obviously no resources towards a bond? No?
No, he doesn't have any money for a bond right now.
Okay. Ms. King?
Your Honor, the state at this moment does not oppose a bond reduction. However, the state is requesting a discharge plan to make sure that the offender is stabilized and he has a place to stay and everything.
What's the chance, excuse my ignorance on this, Mr. Gandara, the chance program, is that what the placement with the EHN and the Opportunity Center is, or is it something in addition to?
Well, they start in jail, so he's moved to a special tank where they set him up and start him on his medical treatment and social work, reentry. The county's reentry program is the one that run it, and so he starts the program in jail, and then they've got him set up to when he transitions out, he's got full support from them to start his medical situation. They're going to get him housed, and they're going to help him get back to work.
Ms. King, what other specifics were you referring to?
As far as, I'm not understanding, Your Honor.
So I thought you were requesting something, I guess, more specifics in terms of either the mental health plan or the placement. I'm not sure.
Yes, just the kind of the discharge, where would he be residing? You know, what I did not know that he was actually receiving any, that he was actually participating in the chance program. I did notice that there is 1622 even in his previous cases, but just, you know, where will he be residing? What type of mental health will he be receiving?
So I understood, Mr. Gandara, the Opportunity Center, is that like a transitional place? Will he then be moved out of the Opportunity Center, or what happens there?
They will move him away from the OC as soon as they get him
Place to live.
other stable housing. In other words, some of that might depend on his getting back to work. But like I say to the court, he indicates to me that he gets out and he'll be back to work in within a couple of days. But I will forward to Ms. King and to the court the email exchange I have with the reentry people talking about his participation in the chance program. And it was, I agree, I guess it's kind of brief, but the release plan is to get him to release to the OC and to get him started with the EHN to transition him from being treated in jail to being treated out in the community. And I will ask for more detail from them as well.
Okay. How quickly do you think they can turn that around, Mr. Gandara? Fairly quickly?
Well, I hope so. Sometimes they're busy people, and it's taken me a while to get communication. They haven't delayed in helping Mr. Guerrero, but they've been a little delayed in responding to me in writing and all that sort of thing. But I'm hoping that I could get something within a couple of days.
Okay. I don't have a problem continuing the hearing for 1 week to have a little more detail. Feel free to email the court and Ms. King if you have that detail. And I'm actually fairly comfortable with a full PR bond. So if you will get me additional information, I will reset this for 1 week. But if I'm satisfied with the detail you get in that transition plan, then unless someone is requesting an actual hearing, I may just go on the bond without having to come back for the hearing.
Your Honor, if we have to come to a hearing on the 14th, my only problem is that I have a medical appointment in the morning at 9. For me, it would be, I have to be afternoon. But again, I'm hoping that I will be able to get the court all of the details that Ms. King needs and maybe get this thing done before next week.
Yeah, let's hope we can do that. It would be at 3 p.m. at the jail slot. So hopefully that will, but yeah, hopefully we don't need the hearing. In any event, we'll continue it for 3 p.m. in 1 week. Please forward whatever information you get and I'll look at it. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And for my purposes, so I'm not looking at, anything other than, whether we do a full PR. If I wasn't at a full PR bond, I'd also look at reducing the cash surety portion, but really, realistically, I'm looking at, whether he gets top full PR. So, okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Get to work on that. Ms. King.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon to all. Fabian, good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. All right, who's next?
May I go?
Yes, sir.
Judge, on page 6.
Uh-huh.
Annex, may we have Mitchell, Bryce Mitchell?
Sure.
Ready?
In cause number 2021-0D02255 and 2020-0D05492 and 2020-0D05395. State of Texas versus Bryce Damian Mitchell. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Cesar Lozano on behalf of Mr. Mitchell, ready to proceed, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mitchell is appearing from the jail annex. We are scheduled for a final hearing plea deadline. Mr. Mitchell is scheduled for trial on Friday. Defense counsel, I believe, has filed a motion for continuance in each of these cases, requesting more time to prepare for trial. Mr. Lozano?
Yes, Judge. If I may, before we move on to the continuances, I did also email the court, and I believe that request was forwarded to you as well, Your Honor. Mr. Mitchell did propose, at least to me, if he were to be allowed to plea sometime in September, then we could forego the continuances and he wouldn't feel it necessary to proceed with trial. You know, my client has spent a significant amount of time in custody. He was found incompetent at one time. He came back competent. And after going through all the evidence and you know, every detail of the cases a few times, especially recently, that is the only request that he's made upon me to see if I can get him that little bit of extra time from the court. So now I'm here before the court asking on behalf of my client, Your Honor, if we can set it for sometime in late September, if possible, for a plea, Your Honor.
So we were set for a plea on May 3rd and your client backed out of that plea. That's why, to me, you know, this random want to set it for September, to me, quite honestly, feels like a delay tactic. I'm not really inclined to grant that request. He's set for trial this week. Then I get the motion for continuance, which I'm not inclined to grant either. So what are we doing?
Well, Your Honor, when he backed out of that plea, I will say that I had not discussed some of the evidence that my client was concerned with. We now have reviewed all of that. There was quite a bit of videos on one of the cases that I think was the one that was holding, he was reluctant to plead to. And we have that, we were able to review it with him. And so that's where we are now. That's where things have changed. So I don't anticipate him going back on the plea in September.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not there. So in terms of the, I guess, informal request, no, he has his trial. Mr. Mitchell, you have your trial date on Friday. I have Commissioner's Court reserved for trial. We have 3 cases. What's the rec, Ms. King?
Your Honor, it's a 2 TDC with, it's going to be 2 TDC for 2021 ending in 02255 and run concurrent with, give me 1 second, run concurrent with the robbery that ends in 5395, and I will dismiss the bulk of a building with deadly weapon findings, and I have already sent the plea paperwork.
I think we already had them signed, did we not? I thought at one point, I'll have to look, but I thought Mr. Mesa, I thought we already had them signed at one point. Let me double check.
No, Your Honor, we did receive the paperwork, but it was never signed by my client.
Okay. So, I mean, I think you just have to talk to your client. Do you want to address the motion for continuance?
Well, Your Honor, I mean, this is the same motion that the court has seen on every case scheduled for those dates based on the same reason. You know, the firm intended to attend a CLE in San Antonio, and that's why those motions were filed.
Understood, but I especially in this case, I believe the order of court setting was, let's see. Well, no, in this one, it looks like it was in March. You had a jury trial April 29th. I think that one was passed because we anticipated a plea on May 3rd. Your client then changed his mind and decided not to plea. So we had our backup date, and that's where we are. So the motion for continuance is denied. So I'm happy to bring you back in person on Thursday. If there's something you think, you know, will help things out, but I have, how many people do we have for commissioners on Friday, Mr. Marufo?
Just received the docket for 100, jury panel for 100 jurors.
We have 100 100 people ready to go. How long do you anticipate this case? Well, which one are you guys gonna try? The 2020 robbery?
That's the only one that had any issues, Judge. None of the other ones did, so.
Ms. King, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is ready. I believe we've just been back and forth. The state sends plea paperwork.
Send it one time, Your Honor.
Okay.
That's
So, I mean, is it pretty straightforward? It's not gonna take a ton of days?
Judge, the only question in the case is whether the clerk put her hands on him first and he just tried to get away and pushed her away from him. That's the only issue. Should take maybe twice as long or 3 times longer to get a jury than it is to try the case.
Well, if we have one panel, you know, and you all are efficient, you know, we could start evidence on Friday. I'm going to bring you back on Thursday. We're going to need to transport Mr. Mitchell on Thursday. I want to make sure we have our witnesses squared away, state that you can start on Friday. It shouldn't be difficult to pick our jury. I really don't think there's, I mean, we got 100 people, we've got one panel. It's not like we're picking off of multiple panels. So unless you all don't need to come in on Thursday, I don't have a problem if you don't.
It'll help, Judge.
It will. And we'll see you at 10:30. Mr. Marufo, let's arrange for transport for Mr. Mitchell, please.
What time was that again, Judge? I missed.
I'll say 10:30 because we have that contested rebel at 11,
Okay, Judge.
please. All right, Mr. Mitchell, we're going to bring you over on Thursday so your attorneys can go over any last minute things you need before trial. Okay. I had forgotten about the competency thing, Mr. Lozano, so I want to make sure we're squared away on that as well. Okay?
Yes, Judge, if we can discuss it further at 10:30, maybe.
Sure. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who's next?
Page 8, Judge.
Mhm.
Annex, may we have Manuel Villarreal?
Sure.
All right, okay. All right, ready? Hey, Mr. Abelar.
In cause number 2022-0D01581, State of Texas versus Manuel Villarreal. Announcement of council, please.
King for the state of Texas.
Oh, you're muted.
Thank you, Judge. Daniel Avalar from Manuel Villarreal.
And we are scheduled today, Mr. Villarreal is appearing from the jail annex. We are scheduled for a bond hearing. Mr. Abelar, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge, and good afternoon.
Mhm.
Your Honor, Mr. Villarreal stands accused of it's a 4-count indictment, Your Honor. When you look at the indictment, it's rather serious, but when you read the complaint affidavit, it reads more like a road rage case, if anything. And further, and not to argue the facts, it appears that they may have even, the complainant and the defendant may have known each other. It reads like they're neighbors. I think this is more like a neighborly dispute / sort of road rage kind of a situation than one of those true aggravated assaults that we normally see. Plus, Judge, the police interviewed a witness, and that witness saw the same vehicle that the complainants are talking about, but that witness saw no weapon or no specifically no gun, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Judge, truth be told, I believe my client, Mr. Villarreal, is still on parole.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be an issue for the court's consideration, Judge. But he is on parole. He is from here, Judge. He did have a job with Camel Towing before he was placed into custody, which he has been in custody for, I think he's going on a month and a half now, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Judge, we are asking that the that the court reduce his bond substantially, Your Honor. More specifically, Judge, we are asking that the bond be reduced to a total of $25,000, Judge.
Okay. Anything else?
Judge, I think that's it. I may have a question for Mr. Villarreal, but I think that's it for now.
Okay, Ms. King.
Yes, Your Honor. The state respectfully opposes the bond reduction. We have an extensive criminal history starting when he was in juvenile. 1999, we have an evading. He was placed on deferred probation. 2000, we have a misdemeanor theft. He pled true, I believe 23 months. We have a 2002 DWI conviction, pled guilty. June of 2002, we have a burglary of a habitation, intent other felony. He was placed on 10 years. 2013, we have a failure to comply with sex offender registration, and I believe he pled guilty for 8 years. Confinement. We have a 2014 aggravated robbery. He also pled guilty 8 years of TDC time. We also have a 2015 aggravated assault, causes serious bodily injury, pled guilty to that one as well for 8 years confinement to run concurrent with the 2014 and 2013 cases. There's a 2015 also engaging in organized criminal activity, also pled guilty 8 years. We have obstruction or retaliation, that was a conviction as well. There is an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and I believe I just see a disposition of 2022, April of 2022.
That's this one, isn't it?
Yes, that is correct. And yes, he is placed on parole. There is a, wait a second. I just need to make sure. I believe in California,
Yes.
possession controlled substance felony, 2013. I don't see a disposition, or actually I do see a 3 years probation. Based on the extensive criminal history, Your Honor, the state respectfully opposes to a bond reduction.
So it's 300,000 because I think basically they did 100,000 per count, right, on the ag assault.
That's what it kind of sounds like, Your Honor. And all those cases ran concurrent that he pled to. I'd like to ask Mr. Villarreal 1 or 2 questions. Is that okay, Your Honor?
Sure.
Mr. Villarreal, are you on parole right now or are you discharged?
I discharged in 16 days, sir.
16, so you owe them 16 days?
16 days, yes, sir, to complete my 8-year sentence.
Okay. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, well, I'm certainly not in the range that your client is requesting, so I'm gonna deny the bond reduction at this time. Let me see. We're not set for trial until next year. We have your arraignment coming up here pretty soon, and then we're not set until judges conference. So if you need to come back on the bond or anything else, Mr. Avelar, just file something. If you need to have a hearing before, August, because that'll be our next more or less substantive setting.
Judge, I'm gonna get together.
Go ahead, yeah.
Sorry, Judge.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna get together with the other lawyers here and come up with some sort of strategy.
Sure.
I think this case is kind of on the weaker end rather than the stronger end, but I understand that he has his history.
And that's really, yeah, that's really the basis for the bond denial. Nature and circumstances as well, Ms. Bustamante, in terms of the order. Nature and circumstances in the prior criminal history. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Villarreal. Take care. Thank you, Ms. Avelar. Who's next?
We're back on page 3, Judge.
Okay.
And next, may we have Fernando Ayala?
Good afternoon, Judge. How are you?
Good afternoon. Mr. Ayala, is that you?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Cause number 2021 0D0 0763 and 2022 0D0 0152 and 2020 0D0 3281 and 2022 0D0 0050 State of Texas versus Fernando Ayala. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Regina Arditi on behalf of Fernando Ayala, and we are ready, Your Honor.
And Mr. Ayala is appearing from the jail annex. We had been scheduled last week, if I'm not mistaken. We were here, I think at the jail docket. And then had to forego, got past a Thursday hearing. So we are reset again today for a status conference. Everything was basically reset, status, revocations on all of these cases. Ms. Arditi, have you spoken with your client regarding his placement in BHRTC and his plea?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay, there is so much background noise. I don't know if are you using multiple devices?
No, Your Honor.
There's a lot of feedback. Somebody's typing, I don't know who that is. All right, so where are we in terms of our agreement here?
Your Honor, I had spoken with Ms. King and we had discussed several options. She was going to let me know. I had discussed all the options with my client and I'm ready to respond as to what Ms. King would, her response on my counteroffer, Your Honor.
So what is it? Is there an agreement and what is it?
Your Honor, the counteroffer was deferred. However, the state is not willing to offer deferred. Instead, it would be 2 years straight probation.
Ms. King, you're saying 2 years straight probation. Is that only on one and you would be willing to dismiss the other one?
Yes.
Okay, then I had spoken to my client regarding what the different options were, and he would accept that if you're going to be dismissing one of them.
Mr. Ayala, have you spoken, Judge Arditi, I need you to mute. Mr. Ayala, have you spoken with your attorney since we were here last?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and now we're talking about, I guess there's been different offers that have gone back and forth. I want to make sure, and I'm going to ask Ms. King to state what the offer on the table is, because I don't want to misspeak. Ms. King, would you restate that, please, for his benefit?
Yes, Your Honor. So it was going to be, I apologize. It is actually 3 years, not 2 years. I just pulled up the email. It's a 3 years straight probation. And it will be a play on the case, one of the burglary of a habitation that ends in 0050. And I will be dismissing 0152, which is also burglary of a habitation.
Okay, so is it 3 for 3, 3 years confinement, suspended for 3 years of straight probation?
Yes.
And then dismissal of 0152.
That is correct.
Okay, so you have 2 new cases, Mr. Ayala. Well, no, 2 cases that you're booked on that you're not on probation for. One is the burglary of habitation case of 2022 0152. They're offering to dismiss that. And then for you to plead guilty on 2022 0D00050. That is also a burglary of habitation. The offer is 3 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, suspended for 3 years of community supervision. My understanding then would be that we would place you in BHRTC on the probation cases and the new pled case. Is that right?
Yes.
And you're in agreement with that? Okay. All right. So then I'm going to ask that Ms. King, if you will circulate the paperwork for the plea, and we can set him for next week for a plea. can you get the plea paperwork completed in that time frame, Ms. Arditi?
Yes, I believe I can. As long as Ms. King gives me enough time so I can send that paperwork to the jail so that we can go ahead and get everything signed, Your Honor.
Ms. King, if you will send those to her today,
Yes, Your Honor.
and we will reset this for a plea.
Ms. King, in addition to that, as to the motions to revoke, would you consider, oh no, he's not going to be playing to the motions to revoke. That's correct.
We're just going to modify everything to be a charge.
That's correct, Your Honor. My mistake. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll come back in 1 week with the plea. Alrighty.
Thank you, Your
Carla.
Honor.
Carla, do you have anything for the court?
Oh, Your Honor, that'll be
Okay.
perfect. It will be during a jail slot, correct?
Correct. 3
Okay,
o'clock.
that way he can sign paperwork.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. All right, who's next?
Staying on page 4, Judge.
Mhm.
And next, may we have Michael Contreras.
Seems like we've had a lot of audio issues. It's weird.
Yes.
Yes. All right, there he is. Okay, go ahead.
In cause number 2019 0D04520, State of Texas versus Michael Efrain Contreras. Announcement of council, please.
Bubba King for the state of Texas.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Deborah Bobbin covering for Ms. Pages for Mr. Contreras.
And Mr. Contreras is appearing from the jail annex. We are scheduled for a pre-revocation hearing. Oh, yeah, I thought I read this one. Carla, do you have an update for me on Mr. Contreras? I have notated here, he had a failure to ID in 2022. He picked up, that's probably how we got him, and then a 2021 AFV. Let me see if I can find the summary.
Yes, Judge, if I may, I believe this is one that we were going to come back to see what was going to happen with the pending misdemeanor.
Right.
And the discussion was it was possibly going to get dismissed, but probation had recommended domestic violence caseload, and we were going to follow up just to make sure, because if the misdemeanor family violence was to be dismissed, then he wouldn't qualify for
right
our case into domestic violence caseload, and that is correct. He wouldn't be able to be modified into the caseload.
Yeah, that's the notation there. So did we find out on the new AFV, it says if case gets dismissed, client to continue on probation with conditions to be modified to include payments towards restitution. So it's key.
Yes, Your Honor. So we do have the case, and instead, since it's been taking such a long time, and instead of actually sending the case to be screened, I'll go ahead and take care of that, and I will dismiss that. I'll decline that case.
Okay, so we know that's what's happening.
Yes,
I mean, you're okay. So you're making that decision. All righty. Okay, then we're gonna modify him then, Carla, on the restitution has to be at a set amount. Was there any other modifications?
Oh, Your Honor, just, I mean, we do have Mr. Contreras, and if you can just remind him of no further arrests. I know there's other previous arrests. He's been given opportunities. So if he can just.
What happened to the failure to ID? Is that one still outstanding?
It's still pending out of CC1, I believe, Judge. Let me double check. But I think it is.
Judge, he has Mr. Lemke on that case and on the misdemeanor AFB. He's appointed to those.
Mr. Contreras, look, you've had 3 arrests while you've been on probation. You know, do you know what that means? That means that you're not supposed to be on probation. That means you're just supposed to be in jail, because there's a lot of things that you're supposed to do when you're on probation. or that you're not supposed to do. And like 3 times you did the number one thing you're not supposed to do, allegedly. Now it appears that only one is still got legs, and that's that failure to ID. And that doesn't give me a big headache. But, you know, you have 2 assault family violence allegations that are now kind of going away. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't know if those are valid or not, or it's just somebody doesn't want to cooperate. I don't know. But I'm telling you this, you are not showing me that you are a good probationer. Right? So what do you think is going to happen when you get arrested again?
I'll be
You
taking.
think I'm going to want to keep you on probation?
No, ma'am.
Well, I hope we don't have to find out, but I can guarantee you if we do, I'm going to look at this probation report, and basically the way Ms. Pineda's looking at me right now is saying, give me a break. He's picked up 3 arrests and we're just going to leave him on probation with no consequence. I'm not going to forget that. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So we're going to make that modification. Is it the same victim in those 2 dismissed AFVs?
Your Honor, I don't remember 100%.
Can we look at it, please?
Yes, let me check.
Judge, I believe it is. Is that correct, Mr. Contreras?
No, on the first assault family violence was Hunter Joseph. On the second was in between me and my spouse. So that was alleged.
What was the, okay, so the first one was just a straight assault. So here's what we're gonna do. We're also gonna, was he ever, what is, let me go back. So we're gonna send him to anger management. Okay? I don't know if you just got a bunch of angry people around you or if you're the one with the problem, but we're gonna see if you can get some life skills on how to either pick your friends better or learn how to deal with life stressors better. Okay? So we're gonna do the restitution modification and we're gonna do the anger management. Okay?
Your Honor, and on the restitution, how much of a payment would you want?
So I have the notes I'm seeing here is in payments of $200 per month. That's what I'm seeing on the notes. Mr. Contreras, as long as you're doing your part and making your effort, understand I am not going to penalize you if you're trying to do the right thing, all right? It's when I see rearrests, when I see things like that, that's not what I consider trying to do the right thing. So I'm gonna need you to work on your restitution. I'm gonna have you go to anger management and comply with every other condition. If I see progress there, believe me, you're having trouble, you communicate that to probation and they'll come tell me and I will work with you. But I'm not gonna be real happy about working with you when you keep getting rearrested. Understood?
Understood, Your Honor.
All right. So we'll do the modifications. Anything else, Carla?
Your Honor, I wanted to ask, I know it's not mentioned, but would you allow us to reduce his probation fee to $25 instead of the 60?
Oh, for sure. Retroactive, so yeah, let's put his probation fees at $25. He got credit on the fine. The court costs are outstanding. We'll leave those the same for now. But the restitution, there's been no payments on restitution. So let's get to work on that.
And the NTR,
Oh, it'll be dismissed. It'll be dismissed. Basically, you're going to start from scratch again, Mr. Contreras. Don't build up another resume. I'm not going to let it. Let me see. So he already has no contact with the first complainant. So it looks like we'll just add we're going to add, well, no, we're not going to add. We're just going to do the anger management. Sorry. Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, Judge, just Contreras, you're still gonna have to resolve your failure to ID with Mr. Lemke, okay?
I understand.
Alrighty,
Your Honor, may I address Mr. Contreras?
yes.
Mr. Contreras, please call Mr. Sanchez as soon as you get released from jail.
Mr. Sanchez?
Probation officer.
Oh, Alfredo Sanchez. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. So if we need a release, Ms. Bustamante, if you'll send that for Mr. Contreras. Okay, thank you. All right, who's next? Thank you, Missy Bobbin. Good to see you.
On page
Do you
7,
have more? Do you have more? Yes, okay.
on top of page 7, annex, may we have Murphy, Michael Ray Murphy?
Yes, Judge, I'll be covering pages for the next 2 weeks. She's on.
Oh, okay. Did she vacate or?
Yes.
Coco, why'd you let her?
It was approved long ago.
Long before, okay. All right, Mr. Murphy. All right, go ahead.
In cause number 2022 0D01549, State of Texas versus Michael Ray Murphy. Announcement at council, please.
Okay, for the state of Texas.
Deborah Bobbin covering for Ms. Pages, ready for Mr. Murphy.
And Mr. Murphy is appearing from the jail annex. We're scheduled for a bond hearing. Missy Bobbin, you may proceed.
Our client, Mr. Murphy, has been in jail now 40 days. He has a total of bond of 160,000. It's 150,000 for the ag assault and 10,000 surety for the AFE impede breath. He is a U.S. citizen. He has lived in El Paso for the last 6.5 years. He is in the Army. He has served our country for 9.5 years. He's a specialist. He's a tank gunner in the Army, and he's assigned to the 2nd Brigade. He is married. He does have 2 children with the complaining witness. His son Michael is 4 and Levi is 1.5. Like I said, he has been in custody for some time now. And so my understanding is that he has stopped getting paid from the military because of this. The plan is if he gets released, that he would return to the barracks and not live with the complaining witness. I was informed that there was a default protective order granted May 26th against or with the complaining witness, again, who was his wife. So the court is aware that that is in place. Also prohibiting Mr. Murphy from having contact with the complaining witness. His family cannot post, obviously, the bond as it is. So we're asking for a reduction as low as the court would feel comfortable with, because otherwise he will not be able to post that.
Okay. Ms. King.
Your Honor, the state respectfully opposes the bond reduction. There's to criminal history, there is a 2019. I see that it's through the U.S. Army for possession of drugs. I don't have a disposition for that. Actually, I do have a disposition, non-judicial action. I believe, my understanding is they reduced the charge. But I don't have, if he did any probation or anything. I also see count 2, I believe, conspiracy to commit all offenses. The complaining witness is his wife. We had contact with her as of May 2nd, 2022. She did wish to proceed with the prosecution, and she did let us know that there is a protective order through Fort Bliss. And also that she did express to us various anger issues with the defendant throughout the years.
I don't imagine you got her position on the bondish. No.
No, Your Honor.
Anything else, Missy Bobbin?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
So I'm going to deny the request to reduce bond based on the nature and circumstances of the offense and the safety of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy will be in contact with you soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who's next?
And next, may we have Anthony Ramirez?
All right.
Because number 2019-0D04515, State of Texas versus Anthony Ramirez. Announcement of council, please.
Noah King for the state of Texas.
Ray Bobbin covering for Ms. Pages, ready for Mr. Ramirez.
And we are set for a probation status hearing. We also have a new case, I guess 2022-0D01586. Is that right? Let me see. There he is. So he's on probation for theft. And he picks up a new theft. Alrighty. So this one isn't set for an arraignment and not set for trial until 2023, but I think the old theft or the probation case terms this year, does it not, Carla? Let me go back.
Yes, Your Honor. So just really quick, a quick note. Originally, the case was, it was a 2-year deferred probation. So the case was set to expire March 2022. We submitted a 6-month extension to give him, Mr. Ramirez, the opportunity to complete his financial obligations, his theft class, community service, and so forth. And a month after the extension is when he picks up the new charges, Judge.
What's the allegation on the new theft?
I can check, Your Honor. Really quickly, though, I did want to let the court know that there is a case we are waiting for to be presented. Date of offense is March 10th, 2022. It is a theft of property less than $2,500 with 2 or more previous convictions.
So in the motion to adjudicate, there's one for March 29th, there's one for March 24th, there's one for March 10th. There's one for January, is that right? January 8th. Yeah, we're not on probation anymore, right? Right, we're just gonna do some time, Mr. Ramirez?
I just want to ask the judge if she could give me one more last chance.
No, we're gonna give you some time. So how soon before we get all our, how soon before we get all our cases?
Your Honor, I would say maximum 2 weeks.
Okay, we'll come back in 30 days. Think of a good number. Probation is clearly not working. Clearly not working. We'll reset this for 30 days. Myrna, let's make sure we get, I think we have the 16th. I really don't want to hold you to that 2 weeks, but we could use that date if you wanted. Ms. King.
Whatever the court is comfortable with, Your Honor.
I'll go back to the new case. There's 2022 and we have that, okay, we already have the waiver in. Yeah, I guess we'll just keep the setting, but Myrna, let's just make sure whatever we have thus far is also on the 16th. We have that arraignment set, so we'll see if we have any other cases to be set that day as well. That's only 10 days, 9 days. So, all righty. And then from there, we're looking at judges conference in August. So thank you very much. That was easy.
Judge, may I-
Oh, yes. Thank you, Mr. Papa. Who's next?
Next, may we have Cassandra Torres?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there she is.
In cause
Let's
number
go.
2022 0D0 1584, State of Texas versus Cassandra Torres. Announcement of council, please.
Raul King for the state of Texas.
Brent Stevens for Ms. Torres.
And this one also, she also has a new case, correct? 2022 0D018, is it 1861?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, and are you wanting to proceed on the bond on that one as well, Brent, or no?
The actually there's the two that are indicted in your court are the ones that I would like to be heard today, and that's 1584, 22 0D0 1584, and
1861.
yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So
that's an
Judge-
AFV competing. Okay, go ahead.
Judge Nunez reduced the bond on the unindicted assault in the jail mag to a $1,000 split PR bond. So it's 1,000 surety. That's on that JMAG 21-08431. And that occurred July 24th, 2021. So I don't, the newest cases are from March that I see. I believe that's correct. So on the one of these cases, she has a $10,000 cash or surety bond, and the other one's a $2,500 cash or surety bond. And those are the two that we really need relief from. My client is 31. She's a U.S. citizen born in California, but she's been in El Paso for most of her life. If she's released, she will be living with a friend on North Copia, and I have the address. The complaining witness is named Monica Olivares, and so she will have no contact with the complaining witness. I did speak to the complaining witness. She has not given me a non-pros, but so, you know, I do not know what the final outcome of these cases will be, but my client needs to stay away from Miss Olivares, and she's in agreement with doing that. Her employment is she owns her own business as a landscaper, and she also does mechanics work. So that is what she does for a living. She has family in El Paso. There is a 1622, and she will be linked with Takumi if released through EHN. So she does need to have that also as part of her PR bond. But we're not, honestly, Judge, what I'm requesting is a split bond. I'm hoping that you will consider reducing it down to about a total of $3,000 combined between the two bonds. If you would do that, I think her friends and family might be able to work with that.
My wife, she also sent an affidavit to Brian Rodriguez, and it was signed and everything. Brian Rodriguez was my lawyer before Brent Stevens.
Yeah, well, Cassandra, we know that. We'll deal with that later, okay?
So I just want to make sure I understand, and Ms. Bustamante, maybe you can help me on this. I saw it looks like Judge Nunez and JMAG, that was on the misdemeanor case, reduced 1 to 500. And then I'm seeing, is this another misdemeanor on that JMAG? What was it? 8420, it's JMAG 21-08431. And that one, it looks like Judge Estrada split 1,000 corporate surety, 3,500 PR. Those are not mine, right? The ones that I show, I have the violation of protective order at 2,500, and then I have the AFV impeding at 10,000. Is that right?
I believe so, Judge. The P file 7174 is filed as a misdemeanor, but it has not been accepted by the DA's office. So I do not know if they're going to try to enhance that to felony or leave it as it is. But that's the one with the split PR that Judge Nunez heard.
So are these all on?
And Judge, I'm only showing 3 cases. I guess I'm not showing the P file that she's being held on. I am showing that she's being held on the 10K cash or surety on the 1861, which is yours. And there was a bond reduction denied by Judge Pretty on May 16th. And then the case 1584 is 2,500 cash or surety.
Right. So I guess what I'm trying to get my head around is, okay, so my 1584 violation of protective order incidents are from August of 2021, right?
That's what the jail shows, yes.
Okay. And then I have my impeding date of offense is what?
March 24th, 2022 is what I'm showing.
And then these others, so then the misdemeanors are what dates of offense?
The one that was just reduced to the split, it's showing July 24th, 2021.
Don't see that.
That's 2021 P file 07174, and it's got a bond or a warrant number of JMAG 2108431.
And I actually found them, everything that she's been being held on, Judge, under jailings. If you click on charges, it's a clearer picture right there, I think.
Okay, let me go over there. Let me see if I can find charges. I'm in jailings. So if I'm looking at jailings, oh, I messed up. And I think I see, okay, so I see the, there's an assault family violence misdemeanor, July 24th, 2021. Then I get the violation of protective orders in August. And then I get the impeding in March. And then the rest are capiouses for the old charges, right? And then she gets an evading because I think in March she tries to run when they get her, right? So there's that evading, allegedly. Okay. All right. Ms. King?
Yes, Your Honor. The state respectfully opposes the bond reduction due to the criminal history. And also, we do have, I believe, as of yesterday, we did have contact with the complaining witness, and that is her spouse. And she did express her hesitation if the defendant is let out on bond. She did desire to go ahead and move forward with the prosecution. As far as criminal history, we do have around 22 pages of rap, and it did start all the way from juvenile of family violence. We have a burglary of habitation, we have theft, we have.
And she's been to TDC and to state jail. I'm seeing some.
Yes, Your Honor. And she's been placed on probation on various cases, and eventually she was revoked.
Right, right. A lot of probation violations. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Stevens?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, no. The request to reduce bonds are denied.
All right, thank you, Judge.
Thank you. And that'll be on prior non-compliance, prior criminal history, Ms. All right. Who's next?
And next, we have Valdivia.
Yes, sir.
That's yours too, Mr. Stevens?
It is, and my last one, I believe.
Well, I think it's our last one too. I think. It's 4:15, but it feels like 5:15. Right? It's because it's 100,000 degrees outside. Mr. Valdivia, okay, let's go.
In cause number 2018-0D06090, State of Texas versus Julian Rene Valdivia. Announcement of council, please.
Roa King for the state of Texas.
Brent Stevens for Mr. Valdivia.
And Mr. Valdivia is appearing from the jail annex. Okay, just looking at the case summary, the first thing on the recommendation says BHRTC. But if I go backwards, I think I'm going to find some more. Were we at BHRTC or no?
Judge, at the last setting, my understanding was that everyone agreed to BHRTC. So the probation officer sent me the BHRTC paperwork. I took it to my client at the jail and he signed it. Since then, the court never signed the modifications. So I believe what you're waiting for is whether or not to determine whether or not they're going to file a new DWI against him.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly what it was. And I don't know if people got like this wires crossed because I don't know. Yes, Carla's sending me messages. Yes, there was something about there was an evading, all we needed to get rid of it. But Ms. King was like, wait. We think we might have a DWI. So has there been any movement there?
I followed up, Your Honor, with the lab. It is DPS. I did let Mr. Stevenson, he knows that they do take a while. And the state did express the opposition to dismiss or take care of the misdemeanor at the last hearing that we had. However, I believe the next day that I guess Mr. Stevens had a discussion with the misdemeanor prosecutor. So that's where we are.
But ultimately, the case was dismissed, right? The misdemeanor prosecutor dismissed it?
Yes, Your Honor.
I remember signing.
But the DWI is still, the DWI is just out there floating and who knows where it's on some DPS officer's desk.
Carla, help play this out for me. I mean, clearly, the state may come back and say, oh, now I have a DWI, but I just assume get him going to BHRTC. I mean, it might get messy later, but tell me, is that worth doing? I mean, I really don't want to hold him.
So the possible pending DWI hasn't even been filed, or it's not even a P file right now, correct?
That is correct.
A P file? Okay, no, it's not. Yeah.
So I don't foresee any issues at this moment, and it's not even a P file. We don't have anything pending on it. If it comes down later on and he's already in the facility, then that's something that comes later.
Right.
I don't think that should be an issue to hold him right now.
Let's send him to BHRTC. And the state will get us our, ni modo. If it hadn't gotten dismissed, I'd have been different, but some prosecutors signed a dismissal. So that's where we are.
And I believe that the paperwork's already been sent to you, Ms. Pineda. If you need it again, let me know.
Mr. Stevens, I'm actually in the process. I'll send it over to the annex right now and he'll sign everything else that I needed.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Okay, so Mr. Valdivia, we're going to send you to BHRTC and they're going to have paperwork for you right now. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Anything else?
Not from the defense. Thank you, Judge.
All right.